Well, that's going in the final version. Hi, everyone.
I'm Rory.
And I'm Roni.
And I hate this bitch. And welcome to
Sinful
Quinnful,
Sunday.
the show where we talk about, on Sundays while drinking, Julia Quinn's novels.
Let's just say, when are we not drinking?
Yeah, that's true.
Literally everything that we have on this channel is just an excuse for us to get drunk
Exactly.
and talk about books.
So while we're on the topic, though, what are we drinking?
Oh, I don't know what you're drinking, but I'm like to, yes.
What did you make? She made herself like a specialty cocktail.
I did. Do you want me to tell you the cocktail?
Yes, please
It
do.
was about half a cup of ice, way too much cranberry juice, a splash of OJ, 2 shots of vodka, a splash of grenadine, and then here's the thing. I drank a bit, added 2 more shots of vodka, topped it off with Sprite and more grenadine. So the proportions are all out of whack on this one.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds delicious.
What are you drinking?
I am drinking a classic vodka cranberry.
That's for basic bitches.
Fuck you. It has a Darth Vader ice cube. You can't be basic with Darth Vader in your
I
drink.
think that makes it even more basic, if anything.
No, it does not.
Like, you went to Williams Sonoma and meant to get a gift for your dad, but your dad doesn't use it, so you just use the Darth Vader ice cube
Okay,
instead.
the Darth Vader ice cube is awesome. It makes my drink a Sith, and I'm here for it. So
Okay, well,
it shoots force lightning. Like,
speaking of force lightning and shooting stuff, let's get into
ooh. On topic. All
let's
right.
get into shooting our forces, our sexual forces, with this bodice ripper.
With this next, so for those of you who've been, I guess, following, on Sinful Quinnful Sunday, we go through Julia Quinn's novels
And regret everything.
Right, and so right now we're going through Bridgerton because it's the most popular at the moment, and there's 8 books, and we are doing
Slay.
today the second one.
If I could see you die.
Yeah,
The Viscount.
The Viscount who loved me.
The Viscountessy who loved me.
Yes.
See.
The book with which the second season of Bridgerton is very heavily, quote,
Based
on.
with heavy air quotes, though.
Yes, but this
It's
is
like
the book.
based on, but it's more like a suggestion.
Yeah, but you know, we'll talk about the show like at the end. We have a little
Yeah.
segment about the show. We'll talk about that at the end. But this is the book. So today,
It's a what?
it's
It's a book.
I can't with you. I'm going to explain. I'm gonna start relaying the plot first. How about that?
Because this is one of her favorite books.
Yeah, this one
And the next one.
and the third one and the 7th one are my favorites in this series.
And so I recounted the first one. She's doing the second and third.
Yes.
Blah, blah, blah.
You'll
You'll figure out, actually. Pretend I didn't say that. Yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah, gotta keep them on the hook, Ronnie. Okay.
Damn it.
Oh, and also, as always, we have our wonderful Bridger Go board.
Go.
Full of
Bridger.
romance tropes from Julia Quinn's novels that are very, very common.
Yeah.
And as we go through the plot, we are going to put down tiles on the bingo board.
Yeah, so feel free to join along in either drink or spirit. And we do not check IDs, but please do not participate unless you're over the age of, or including 21 stateside. Just don't make it obvious, okay? Yeah, definitely don't underdrink age-wise. Okay, let's go. There goes our little content warning.
Yeah, okay, amazing. So I think we should get started.
Then go.
Okay.
Start.
So,
Why are you waiting so long?
I'm getting my shit together. Calm down.
Okay.
So the way the book starts is, for those of you who don't know, each Bridgerton novel follows a different sibling as the main character. So the first one was Daphne Bridgerton. Mm-hmm. The second one is Anthony Bridgerton, the Viscount Bridgerton. Oh, yeah. So he has the title. And why does he have the title? Well,
Because
the prologue
he's
tells
the
you. Because he's the Viscount. Well, the prologue tells you why he's the Viscount. Because his dad tragically died.
Okay. Can I say, I love how his dad died.
Oh my god, it's so funny. Like,
I think should we
no,
hold
it's
the
in
suspense?
the prologue.
Okay, so can I
anyway.
tell this part?
Yeah,
This is
please
my favorite
do, please
part.
do.
So, Violet Bridgerton is heavily pregnant with the 8th child. We don't we don't know that yet. Wink. I'm getting to it. And Eloise Bridgerton and the father, Edmund, are out for a stroll, picking up flowers for our dear Violet. And he gets stung by a bee and brutally suffocates to death. Okay,
That didn't sound as funny.
Wait, no, here comes
Say it out loud.
No, here comes the good part. The good part is when the child is born, Violet says, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to name the child after the thing that my husband died trying to get me.
Bumblebee?
Hyacinth flowers.
Oh, man.
His final act was retrieving hyacinths for his dear pregnant wife.
Yeah.
He brutally died, and she said, yep.
I mean, it fits the name rhyme. Like, it fits the name alphabet scheme she's
It does,
going for. It was
but
kind of a sign.
Hyacinth, this daughter, probably has a lot of trauma. She's like, I'm the reason my dad died. Hee hee.
Lol, love that
My
for me.
namesake is not a family member.
Yeah.
It's the flower that resulted in my father's death.
Well, so we can put a tile down. Oh, by the way, our free space is always and will forever be hot homme du jour.
Because that's a non-negotiable,
yeah,
apparently.
come on.
I want an ugly balding man as one of our homme du jours. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's never a case.
Give the uglies a bit of a chance.
We can put a tile down for dead parents because Edmund Bridgerton is fucking dead.
He didn't live.
Also, we can put another tile down.
Go into the country?
No, not yet.
Well, they were in the country.
We're not there yet. They're not going to the country. They're in the country. There has to be travel to the country. So the next one we can put down
county
is
lines or
the
state
homme du
lines?
jour has a. I hate you. The homme du jour has a title because he is the Viscount.
Oh yeah, as soon as his dad dies, they're like, Mr. Viscount, where do you want the dead body? And he's like, who?
He's like,
the
what?
Viscount's dead. He's like, and they look at him, they're like, you're the Viscount. Where do you want the corpse?
Yeah. So in the book, that's basically the prologue. And Antony has this whole belief that he thinks that, like his father, he's going to die young.
Yeah.
So hold up. This is his motivation. And we said in the last podcast, Simon's motivation was really, really stupid. And it is. However,
this one is also really, really stupid.
This one is only slightly less stupid.
It's about as stupid. It's just like he's got the cute sideburns up on the Duke.
It's only more palatably stupid.
I'm a sideburns kind of gal, it seems.
It doesn't say explicitly that he has sideburns.
I want to imagine him with really fuzzy, fluffy sideburns. Sideburns. Okay.
That just died. You were going somewhere with that and that plummeted.
I decided to stop. I think the vodka's starting to get to me.
But anyway, so this is his whole damage backstory, like motivation, the whole book is that.
Where's daddy issues?
Daddy issues. Put that on the bingo board. Daddy issues. Because he's decided he's not going to marry for love.
He's only going to marry for the Bedissiacy.
The Bedissiacy. Well, because he's the Viscount, so he has to pass on his title. So he has to get married and have kids.
Which is a big point of contention internally.
Yeah. So he's
like, I want to keep my seed inside of me. Thank you very much.
That's not it at all. But okay.
He's like, I don't want to make love with women I do not love.
But he doesn't want to get married because he has this weird thing that he thinks, like his dad, he's gonna die young, and that would be like too hard on his wife. So
he decides to relinquish himself to a miserable life.
Yeah, like he's resigned to just being unhappy.
It's like
forever.
that TikTok, like, well, I guess I can't be happy. I'm headed straight for the
yeah, like that's literally him. So he says,
he really goes from point 1 to point 80. He's like, I'm going to fail this test. So you know what? I should just start selling drugs right now.
Yeah. He's basically just like, well, like that's his motivation, which. Okay.
Trauma manifests itself in different ways.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
So we cut to chapter 1, right? Where we meet
who?
The females of the book. Because they're, again, what doesn't exist in Bridgerton except when it's supposed to be funny? Gays. So we meet the women.
And bisexuality.
Now, I actually don't care because these books are like gay people would hate them anyway. So
I love this book.
You're not that gay. You're not.
I'm half gay.
You're half gay.
I think the fact that I like it with my whole soul accounts for the fact that I'm only half gay.
Yeah, I literally think that like is proof there. So we cut to this where the main love interest, named Catherine or Kate Sheffield. If you didn't read the books, if you watch the show, they're the Sharmas, but in the books, they're the Sheffields.
Because we need that representation.
Yeah, so they like made them Indian in the show, which is great. So, but they did change their name for that reason. So in the book, they're not Indian. They're just the Sheffields. And so Kate has her stepsister Edwina. They make her half sister in the show, but they're stepsisters in the book. They like share no blood relation at all. And their mother, quote, Mary, who is Kate's adopted mother, like her stepmother, and Edwina's actual mother, and they're like sitting around in the parlor as you do
in the times when there's literally nothing else to do except pine over men that are too handsome for you, say that you don't have enough suitors, are doing cross stitch, or just sitting and ordering tea for some reason.
The handsome part that was what those men would like you to believe. They were all like inbred ghouls. Like, there's no way. But like, yes, they were very handsome and their title is amazing. So, but
I talk like this because my bottom lip is so much further out than my top lip.
Yes, I talk like
I
this
look like a
with
human
my teeth.
embodiment of a poor Habsburg, but it's okay.
Yeah, like, geez. So
Charles could never.
Yeah, they're sitting around talking, reading Lady Whistledown and talking about the subject of rakes. So Lady Whistledown, we've established in the last podcast, and from now on we're not gonna.
Is a rake like a hoe, like a shovel?
Yeah,
shovel face.
Yeah, exactly. Like shovel face, like a shovel face. So like a rake being a hoe.
Define a rake.
A rake
is a male version of a hoe.
Yes, is a male version of a hoe.
But a rake is also a gardening tool.
But a rake is also a rake, which is something you rake with, but not a rake.
So you hoe with hoes, rake
and
with
rake
rakes,
with
and rakes are
rakes
hoes.
Are hoes. Yeah, basically. Oh my god, that was brilliant. I want that on a fucking pillow. I want that. I want Kate to embroider that on a pillow.
And rakes are
rakes are hoes. You hoe with hoes, you rake with rakes. Rakes are hoes. That's so funny. I find you way too amusing. Anyway,
the sad part is I also find myself equally amusing, which is something really bad.
So anyway, we explained who Lady Whistledown is in the last one. If you don't know who she is, I feel like the rest
Spoiler. Spoiler.
Don't tell them who she is.
Spoiler.
Stop. Lady Whistledown is like Gossip Girl, basically. She writes this gossip column.
Spoiler.
She writes this gossip column. And we explained who she was last time, so I feel like we don't have to explain who she is every episode. So basically from now on, if you're watching this, you know who she is. So they're reading Lady Whistledown's column.
This bitch.
And she has a whole section on the difference between lowercase r, quote, rakes, and uppercase r, quote, rakes. And that Anthony Bridgerton is an uppercase r, rake. Meaning, like that he's an aged, experienced bachelor.
Okay, so where's England's most eligible bachelor? Because here's the thing. Being a rake is bad, but also being a rake is good because it makes you desirable.
Well, because there's that like idea that like the reformed rakes make like the best husbands thing.
Okay.
Which Julia Quinn reinforces again and again.
She does, actually. She's like,
Even what?
The
Playboys suck.
The Playboys are the first to settle down, is what she says.
Yeah, even though like, and you just have to be good enough. You just have to be the special girl to get them to settle down, even though most fuckboys that every girl like dates ends up being just a prick. Like, it's all funny games until you're the one he fucks over.
Except
you're
for
not the special girl.
Except for the Quinniverse.
Except for the Quinniverse. But everybody in the Quinniverse is like the special girl, except for like the opera singers and stuff. Because apparently all opera singers are sluts in this universe too. That should have been
That is a whole other conversation.
But anyway, where did you say England's most eligible bachelor is on the bingo board?
And you also got to put one on just a rake.
A rake.
So what makes this rake different from a lowercase rake? Well, this rake is also like plated with nickel, and it's got a nice good mahogany handle for those long days in the field.
I'm literally just staring at her right now. So
these ones have a nice contoured ergonomic grip to them.
I'm going to ignore that. And according to Lady Whistledown, really the main difference is like that lowercase r rakes grow out of their rakishness, like they're young playboys, and capital R rakes are experienced elder bachelors.
Elder as in 18.
Yeah, like Anthony's in his 30s, so he's basically an old man.
He's ancient.
So they're reading this column, and Edwina's Kate's stepsister, who is 17, and Kate is like 22.
She's an old bitch. She's basically skin and bones.
Yeah, honestly, like she's already like
she's past her prime by like a decade.
Market. Yeah, so she's basically
which is a whole other thing.
She's almost off the market. She's so old. So they're talking about it, and Edwina's like, ooh, that sounds interesting. And Kate's like, I forbid you to be with and marry anyone even remotely like Anthony Bridgerton.
And Edwina's like, okay.
Yeah, Edwina's like, okay. Because, she has, like, no personality in the book at all.
She doesn't.
She just likes books and is nice. And that's
Edwina in the show is a badass.
Yeah, but she's also kind of annoying.
She's annoying badass, but she still has so much more personality and character.
Oh, she definitely does.
I really hated her in some of the episodes, but the fact that I was able to hate her shows you she was more than a pretty girl who likes words.
Yeah, basically. Like in the book, she's so
I had the capacity to hate, which says something.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's definitely true. But like the whole thing is that the Sheffields, for background, are in England right now. Like they've saved up so that Edwina and Kate, which is why Kate's so old at this point, that they can only afford to have one season in England. And like this season, Edwina has to find a husband.
They're putting all of their eggs in the younger, prettier basket.
Right, because it's more likely Edwina, who's like the
young, pretty
one, is gonna snare a husband before Kate, and they only can afford this one season. So someone has to snatch a husband before the season is over, they're convinced it's Edwina.
Isn't it kind of sad that we're both 22 and we'd be considered like too old to get married?
Bitch, I considered myself like too old to do a lot of things and too young to do everything else.
But I just mean like right now, if we were transposed back into Regency era, 1815, whatever year specifically we're in, they'd look at us and say, first, cover your arms and legs. And two,
yes, they would say that.
They'd say, where's your bonnet and top hat?
Yeah. They'd say, why are you talking to the public?
Why are you talking to us?
Why do you have opinions?
Keep your eyes down, wings up, blessed be the fruit. And then they'd say, you're old.
Yeah. Yeah, they would. And you know what?
You're too old for love.
Honestly, I'd be okay with it. I would love nothing more than to be a spinster and like inherit my dad's money and call
This is why me, as a single woman in this age, I'm like, yep, this is it. It's because I read these books.
Yeah, this is
because
all
I really think this is it. I'm 22. My life is behind me. I'm looking at coffins next week.
I'm planning my funeral now. What do you guys think?
Oh, yeah, like the only love I'll ever experience is reading these books that tell me I'm unlovable at 22.
God. Well, that got dark. Anyway.
Moving on.
So they go to a ball.
A ball?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
A ball.
A ball.
And Anthony, by the way, informs his family that this is the season he's going to get married, because it's high time he settle down and produce an heir, because that's what's important.
It's about damn time.
Yeah. He needs to slide in there and create that heir. Stop dancing. They can't see you. Oh my goodness.
This is only an auditory experience.
Okay, so we can put
a
ball where the plot advances on the bingo board.
Well, we don't know that's going to advance.
It does advance the plot, and I'll tell you why. Because this is where Anthony meets Edwina.
The rake.
Yes.
Meets the young, innocent 17-year-old. How old is he again?
He's in his 30s. He's like literally
how
32.
Old is she?
She's 17.
Not creepy at all.
I mean, back then it wasn't, so.
This is perfectly normal.
This is totally okay. So he realizes that she's like the diamond of the season.
Bella the ball.
Bella the ball.
Bella the ball.
Put that on the bingo board.
I picked a bee for the Bella the balls. The bees on the Bella the ball.
Wow, because we're using like Scrabble tiles.
Yeah, we're using. Sorry, that was probably nonsensical to me.
So Anthony's like, I'm gonna marry that girl because she's the belle of the ball and she's the diamond of the season, and I in status want and he has like this checklist of like
under the age of 18.
Check. And it's like,
is naive and doesn't have a personality. A double check.
Well, his big things are that she's not stupid, because he doesn't want his children to be stupid, which so considerate of him.
Wow.
His other thing is that she's attractive enough, because if he has to fuck her, he might as well not hate it.
Oh I forgot about that part.
Yeah. That she's like amiable and that he has no chance of falling in love with her.
Wow.
And he's like,
I definitely wouldn't want to fall in love with the person I'm married to.
Yeah, he's really determined. And he's like, Edwina is the one. But Kate...
He's like, I could never fall in love with this, like, blank slate.
Yeah, this fucking wet blanket.
This child.
This pretty child.
My child bride, yeah.
My pretty child bride. But anyway, so... at the ball, like, this is where he meets Edwina and he dances with her and Kate steps in. She's like, oh, no. Because she knows about his reputation and she doesn't think he's good enough for
What is
her.
he again? A capital... Wait. A capital...
I don't know why you whispered that, but okay. So... Where was I? Okay, so Kate steps in and, like, talks to Anthony at the ball and is basically like, I don't like you. And he's like, that's cool.
He's like, cool. I like your sister.
Yeah.
Your child's sister.
Good to know. Good thing I don't give a flying fuck about your opinion. And
will that stop me? No.
Yeah. And he's like, well, that's great. And so...
He says from this moment, she is my task.
Yeah, like, now he's basically determined to be with Edwina to spite Kate. Like, in a weird way, because he's like, fuck you, nobody tells me what to do.
I sense an enemies to lovers trope.
We're not there yet. We're getting there. But the gist is that from the beginning, they don't like each other.
I wouldn't like him either.
Somebody else described it this way, and I agree, that it's more like rivals to lovers than enemies to lovers because they have opposing goals. But never, like, necessarily, even when they say it in the book, I don't believe it, like a actual disdain. Wow, nice. Actual disdain for one another. Do you get what I mean? Like, because even when they're, like, enemies, they have this, like, banter, and they're both attracted to each other, and they acknowledge it.
I feel like you can still be attracted to your enemy, though.
I guess, but it just feels like they more have opposing goals.
Like, she hates him.
She doesn't
That
hate
makes
him.
her want to hate fuck him.
I love that that's where you go. Okay. We'll put enemies to lovers on the bingo board because we know where this is going.
No, that makes... You're now conceding it is enemies and not rivals to lovers.
I still think it's more rivals, but I'll concede that for the sake of, like, that's really... There's no such thing as rivals to lovers, so we have to do enemies to lovers. So, yeah, we'll do that.
I like what you were saying. They have opposing goals.
Yeah.
She wants to keep her young sister pure, and he wants...
to fuck
a child
bride. And he wants to fuck her.
Yes.
So
ew.
Yes. So sex is dirty. But like
it is.
Sorry we said it. Ooh. But so he calls on Edwina like the next day, and that's like a whole thing.
Not the calling on someone.
Yeah, so he calls on Edwina like the next day, and he gives her and Mary, their mom, like flowers, which is like a callback to the first book because Simon did like the same thing to Daphne and like Lady Bridgerton, and he's like, oh lol, the last man I know who did this married the woman, and that was my sister.
I'm really smart. I'm definitely thinking this through.
Yeah.
I definitely want to marry this child.
When did he become Mickey Mouse?
That's not Mickey Mouse. Hi everybody, it's Mickey Mouse.
That sounds exactly the same. Okay,
wait, ready?
Hi, that
everybody.
was creepy as fuck. Okay, we're gonna move on. We're moving on. So,
I babysit too many children.
oh my goodness gracious, I can't with you. So that happens. They have like a whole thing, and while he's visiting, like Mary basically gets this inkling that like he might be interested in Kate. And she, like, sort of says, why don't you guys take Newton for a walk? Newton's their dog, by the way. Kate has a corgi named Newton.
It's a sexy walk.
Yeah, it's a sexy walk with the dog.
It's a sexy walk with a sexy little corgi with a little corgi tush.
He's not little. He's fat as fuck. He's a fat
He's
corgi.
got those little legs and the corgi butt.
Nothing says foreplay like a fat sausage of a dog slobbering all over you. Yeah. Licking ya. Nothing turns you on like a corgi. Like,
I feel like some people are into that kind of thing. Though.
Okay, we're gonna move on from that because I'm not opening up that can of worms. Anyway,
the worm can is closed.
The worm can is now closed. Yeah. So they go for like a walk, and Antony's like looking at her, and he's like, "Wait, is she like fuckable?"
Well, she's a face with legs and arms and a mahuha, a hussy.
And this is the thing that's so funny in romance novels. I love this trope. I love it so much when like the couple meets and like they think the other is okay looking, and then like all of a sudden, like in the narration, it's like he looked at her and realized she was beautiful.
It's like you can imagine his eyes are going bongo bongo bongo.
Ooga, ooga. Bong. Like yeah, like literally, like he's looking at her. Yeah, like, and all of a sudden he's like
howling at the moon, like, oh yeah.
He's like, is this girl hot?
Yes.
And it's like, yes, the hot girl who was always hot and we know was hot from the beginning
because
is hot.
she was described as hot and the sister was described as an avid reader.
Yeah, she is hot. So anyway, he's like, she's hot. But they're like going for this walk and Newton like smells Edwina and she's like on a walk with some other dude. I think it's a Burbrook actually, which is so funny because if you like watch the show, you know, like Nigel Burbrook's like this evil character, but but in the book he's like more of
it is so pathetic.
He's literally just a doof.
Like we talked about in the first podcast, but he's
you
want to feel bad for him, but he's just, oh my god.
Yeah.
Just pathetic.
I think she's out with him. So like Newton gets loose and they're like chasing Newton through the park. And long story short, both Antony and Edwina end up in the Serpentine. So they're both like soaking wet in the gross ass Serpentine River. And Antony's like out for blood. He's like,
how fucking dare you let this dog off? This was intentional.
Yeah, he's like,
he's mad at Kate, right?
Yeah, he's pissed at Kate. He thinks
he's like, how dare you let the leash slip?
Yeah, he's not having it. So what ends up happening,
I would have just like looked at the abs though, because from the show I was like, the half of me that likes the men was like, oh, wow. No, wow. Look at those sexy abs coming out of the water with a little button-up shirt.
I think that's what you're meant to think. It comes off in the book more silly, but at the same time, I think you're supposed to think like, ooh,
it was so hot in the show.
Soaking wet clothes.
My perfectly coiffed hair has water in it.
Oh no, let me run my hands through it sexily.
Let me button up my shirt.
Oh wait,
that's sticking. It's sticking to my pectorals.
Where did those come from?
I have muscle under my petticoat.
I do fisticuffs every day, and it helps me with my muscles. But
I like to show off when I'm falling into the lake.
This whole thing went on so long. So anyway, it's more silly in the show, but it not the show, in the book.
In the book.
It's more silly in the book, and it was actually kind of funny. But so what ends up happening
in the book, I was like, nice. And when I was watching Thunderstorm, like, nice.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. That was a good way to sum that up. So what ends up happening from that is that Edwina gets a cold. She gets sick.
Achoo.
And nothing happens to him. So there's
I'll get a cold if it means Anthony Bridgerton could give me a cuddle.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do that.
We'll talk about Jonathan Bailey's hotness later. But like,
he's so hot.
He is. He's really hot. But like,
I'm proud to call him a member of my community.
Yeah.
Allies.
What's funny is we're saying he's hot. He doesn't give a fuck. He's like, okay.
Allies.
Yeah, he's like, cool, thanks. So
I know.
What is about Edwina gets a cold, so there's another ball that takes place at Aubrey Hall. Like, I think it's in the country, right? Or is it
going to the country for a ball?
We're gonna do going to the country because they go to the country at some point anyway. And they go to the Bridgerton house where the Bridgertons are throwing this ball, but Kate has to go alone with Mary because Edwina's sick.
How convenient. How bad. Too bad, so sad. Not sad, because that means they can give each other devil eyes from across the dance floor. Like, I fucking hate that person.
Oh my God. Wait. And this is the best part. Ready?
Okay.
Ready? Here we go. You ready? Here we go. Here we go. I'm ready. Anthony has this really, like, he is waiting before the ball in his study, and he's remembering this really sexy dream he had about Kate. And shooketh to his core.
Not a sexy dream about the sexy woman.
Yeah, that he had a dream that he was in bed with a sexy woman, and that it was like the best sex ever, because it always is.
Yeah.
And it was a dream, and it turns out that the woman in the dream was Kate Sheffield.
How dare.
And he's like, what? I don't even like her. Where is this dream coming from? But now he can't look at her the same.
Or else he immediately is recalled to that night. He's like, oh shit, there's a situation.
Yeah, he's like, you
you
really turned me on in my dream.
I gotta go to the powder room and powder my shaft. I mean powders.
Yes, I need to take care of my
yes.
bills.
There's a rake that's sprouting. I need to tame it. Where's the weeds?
The little Viscount is coming out. So, like, he has this sexy dream about her, and so now he can't, like, stop thinking about her because he thought about her naked, and now it's like, whoa. So she gets to the ball, and he immediately, like, senses her presence. He's like, she's here. And to, like, distract himself, one of the other people at the ball is this woman he used to have an affair with, who's an opera singer, because they always are.
Yes.
In these books, the men
what
always have
they do
affairs.
with that mouth, though.
Yeah, what they do, the women in these shows are like who the guys sleep with are always like widows and opera singers and stuff, which I think is so funny. I'm like, okay, but
sure, no other kind of woman. There's 3 kinds of women: opera singers, widows, and etc.
Prostitutes. Prostitutes.
Well, those are the opera singers.
Those are the only people that sleep with men in this.
But
universe.
they're grouped in with the opera singers or the widows.
Yeah,
I'm saying that there's only
they're
3.
the same. Okay,
yeah.
Okay, they're the same. Okay, I gotcha. So he meets up again with this woman who's inexplicably at the party. Who is maybe she's with somebody else. I don't know why she's there, but like
she just showed up.
She's
for a
not
good
singing,
time.
so I don't know what the fuck she's doing there. But
taking a look at the scenery, aka Antony.
Yeah, her name is Maria Rosso. She's like the character that like Sienna in the show is based on.
Sienna Rosso.
Yeah, her name is Ross. She's like the same character, but I think they didn't do it because like there was a character named Marina in the show, and it would have been too similar to Maria.
We'll get to that in book 5.
Yeah, it would have been confusing. So they named her Sienna in the show, but it's Maria, and she's like this Italian opera singer. So he's like, I'm gonna get my mind off Kate, and I'm gonna go dalliance again with my old fling.
He's like, I'm gonna get my mind off of the sexy woman and get on this sexy woman.
Yes, but meanwhile, Kate getting away from the party because she's all hot and bothered by Anthony Bridgerton herself.
Yeah,
she
also kind of didn't want to be there too.
What?
She also didn't want to be there.
Oh yeah, she didn't want to be there because like she has kind of like weirdly low self-esteem for like such an assured person. She's like this interesting dichotomy.
Well, of course she'd have low self-esteem. She's like a walking corpse. No one.
She's all bitter and dried up, you know. But she's
a spinstress. Come on.
She's kind of insecure because she's like Mary's like, oh, it's worth you going because then you could meet a husband maybe. Like this isn't just about Edwina.
Like, no one will want me. I'm over the age of 20.
They only want 15-year-olds. Edwina's even a bit too old.
I'm all shriveled up. My time is expired.
My withered loins could never.
Yeah. So she's kind of like, she kind of thinks it's even useless for her to be there.
It is.
You know? So she's like, this is stupid. So she tries to get away and she ends up in Antony's office.
Oh my gosh.
And this scene.
Anthony Bridgerton wouldn't show up in his own office.
Yeah. What? You mean the guy who owns the house works in this office and is often in this office would show up
work
in his
as
office?
a Viscount because he has to do work because he actually has a job?
Yeah, oh my goodness
being
gracious.
a Viscount?
He's like the only character in the whole Bridgerton family who doesn't spend his days fucking around doing
Literally,
nothing.
this man works his Vicussy off.
He does. I'll give him that. Like, at least he has the most excuse to be the womanizing douche he is before he marries.
He needs to let some steam off.
Yeah, because I'm like, dude, I get it.
He can rake all my seeds if it means he takes off a bit of steam from his hard day of ruling the Viscount territory.
Leave Antony alone. So yeah, she ends up hiding under his desk because Antony comes in with his like girl toy and Kate's like, oh.
She's like under the desk. She's like,
shit.
She's like, do I stay here and listen like a pervert? Or do I leave? I want to stay.
Yeah, she's like, there's really nowhere for her to go. But then
she's
Antony
like,
sees
I'll get a
her.
show.
Yeah.
She was like fully gonna stay.
Yeah, she was.
She was like, I'm gonna see what this man's like. I've been fantasizing about him. Might as well have something to use, you know?
Like, it's not my fault.
She's like, I know for the role play. I mean, the research. I mean, I know.
I'm a pervert. I'm sorry. Hello, my name is Kate Sheffield, and I am a pervert.
Welcome to Perverts Anonymous.
So, like, she's standing under the desk, and Antony, like, sees her, and he's like,
excuse me?
Hello?
And she's like, hello? What are you doing here?
But he doesn't alert Maria to the fact that Kate's in the room. He just sits at the desk and kicks her. Because that's romantic.
I remember that. He was like kicking her while she was under the desk.
Yeah.
And she's like,
she was like biting his leg or something. I don't know what she was doing. When
she was like pinching him, biting his legs. She was fully trying to cause a ruckus, and he like would like gasp out in pain. And Marina's like, oh yeah, not Marina. Maria was like, oh yeah, baby, I know you like it. He's like, ah.
She's like, I'm gonna go, because Maria's like, I'm out.
She's like, you're way too into this. You need to let some steam off before you come over to me.
Yeah, she's like, something's not right. And I'm like, you think? You think, Maria?
He's getting bit under the table like a fly. She's like a horse fly.
Yeah. So I think my favorite is when they describe it in the book. It's like that she's crouching like a frog in her dress. I'm like, interesting. Okay.
She gives me, what kind of frog energy does she give you?
Frog energy?
She gives me like bullfrog.
Bullfrog? I feel like she's like a poison dart frog. Yeah. Like she's pretty on the outside, but like touch her and she'll kill you.
I'm thinking bullfrog because she's like,
because okay, that's reason. So she's not ugly enough to be a bullfrog.
But bullfrogs are majestic.
Oh, are they? I'm sorry, I'm not up to date on my.
It's like, just like their call is so sensual.
I'm sorry, I'm not a zoologist, but like, so Maria leaves and Antony's like, okay, bye. And then as soon as she leaves, he's like, show yourself. And
Avati witch.
Yeah.
Where dost thou hide?
Yeah. Where dost thou hide? And she gets out from under the desk and he's pissed.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the implication in the scene is that he's just so overcome sexually and he's frustrated. Like he's like,
I can't take it out on you because you're not one of the two kinds of women who I can fuck.
Yeah, he's like, oh, if I fuck you, I have to marry you, and that's.
He's like, you're not a widow and you're not an opera singer. You're basically tying my dick in a knot right now. Like I can't do anything to you.
Come on, I don't know what to do.
And he's like, I know, you know, I love having my dick in a knot, but I need to also not have it in a knot.
What? Okay.
A metaphorical knot.
Yes, the like metaphorical. I didn't think
like it's pretzels in a twist.
Shockingly, Ronnie, I didn't think you meant he literally had his dick in a knot. That he tied his dick in a knot. Thank you for clarifying that.
There's a kink in the hose.
Oh my god.
We're back with the metaphors.
I need a second. So she gets out from the desk and she's like, "It was an accident," and he's like,
how's this an accident?
Yeah, okay, sure.
He's like, you crouched like a fucking bullfrog in my office, under my desk, trying to listen to me. Get a bit of hanky-panky, trying not to think of you.
Yeah, for real. Oh, by the way, we forgot something on the bingo board.
Oh, no.
Because you know who's at this ball?
A secret.
Lady Danbury. Put her down on the bingo board.
Lady Danbury. Can I just say, when I'm older, and like after like I have survived everyone on this side of the century.
Had like horrible kids you don't like.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna love my kids, but I might not like them.
Lady Danbury doesn't do either.
Nah, but I want to be her. I want to be meddling. I want to be someone who can just say whatever, do whatever, make men of high society come over and talk to me, even though they're like, oh, not you again. But they're like, hi, Lady Danbury. I'd be like, get over here, you bitches. Say hello to Ronnie.
Hello, fuck your mother, sir. You know, like, it's like that. So they argue for a minute, and he's like yelling at her, and then they end up kissing.
What?
Yes, it's very scandalous.
A kiss?
Yes, they
Can't
kiss.
a kiss ruin a reputation?
Yes, it can.
Oh, shit. How many kisses so far? Where's the kiss count?
One. We're at one. We're at one kiss.
So we're at one?
Yes. One smooch. One smack.
One.
So, yes. Nice. I love the sound effects.
No, this is going to be it.
That's going to be your sound effect.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. The kiss counter. Everybody keep tally. So we're at one kiss. And... I can't. Okay. So we're at one kiss. And she breaks away. Oh. You just fucked up your bingo board! Get it together! She got too into her kiss sound effect.
Sorry.
So she's like, breaks away and she's like,
got it.
You are never gonna marry Edwina. And he's like, yeah. And he kind of thinks in his head, maybe I shouldn't because I really want to fuck Edwina's sister. And that would be super awkward to be like into your sister-in-law.
Just a bit.
You know, he's like, maybe that's not a good idea. But because Kate basically tells him he can't, he's like, you don't tell me what to do. And so he like kind of, it's like Michael Scott, I'm gonna date her even harder. Like it's like that. So, but she's like, and I'm not gonna marry you. And he's like, I didn't ask. And she's like gagged, like so affronted that he kissed her and like didn't like offer marriage because this is Regency era. And she like storms out and he's like,
damn, I almost trapped you.
Yeah. He's like, wow, that's a close one. So
he's like, okay, feelings are going down.
He's like, I'm still an asshole. It's great.
Yes. My plan is working.
Yes, the plan has
worked.
worked.
His secret plan. Homme du jour has a secret. He's starting to feel these feelings, because that's how sexually charged men in these days feel things, is through their penises. So
also we forgot MC is less hot than someone else.
Oh yeah, because Kate is somehow less
sister.
hot than everyone, even though she's freaking gorgeous.
Yeah, she's like described as a supermodel, but somehow she's like less hot than everyone.
But she's just like the girl next door. But she's also hot.
Yeah.
But like in a sexy way. But like in a friendly, sexy way.
Yeah, she's like the same kind of ugly as like Rachel Lee Cook, and she's all that, Like,
but I was gonna
say ugly.
He has a secret now because he likes her, but he won't let himself like her. Ah.
So the homme du jour is a secret. Oh, we gotta put a tally down for lying.
Oh my god.
For lying. I got bingo. For once. You won last time, so I get to win this time.
I won like 4 times.
You did? I won like twice, and you won like 4 times.
I'm coming for you, bitch.
So I got 1 bingo so far. It's hilarious how many times you can get bingo.
Actually, I already got a double bingo because there's a scandal. Because you know what a kiss means?
It's scandal. Not a scandal. It's not reported in Lady Whistledown. It doesn't count.
It's a scandalous occurrence.
The scandal on the bingo board implies that the ton knows about it. That's what that means.
That's subjective.
Wait your turn.
The terms of that word are not defined.
That was the intention.
I need a user manual.
I'm going to write down what all of them mean.
No!
So. It's over. So. What happens is later
what?
They go to the country, and Kate doesn't tell Mary or Edwina what happened between her and Anthony, but they're invited to the country, to the Bridgerton's estate in Aubrey Hall. So basically double points on going to the country. They have to stay there. Nice. She just snatched the tile out of my fucking bitter bitch.
I'm sorry, I'm a poor sport.
They go to the country, which is going to be a problem, because that means Anthony and Kate
are in close proximity!
Are in forced proximity on the bingo board.
Damn it. I've got like a 3-way going on right now, but
I know you have like so many faces, you just need one, and you'll get like 4 bingos. But so what happens is they end up playing this game that ends up being probably one of the most iconic scenes in the entire Bridgerton series.
It's so filled with this sexual raw tension.
Yes, and it's with the family, which makes it so much weirder.
Whoever thought playing like croquet could be sexy?
Yeah, I know, right? But it's this game that's basically croquet, but it's called Pall Mall.
Oh, he's like, I want to bring you to Pound Town after some Pall Mall.
Yeah, baby. So what happens is, though, she takes his lucky mallet, because Anthony has the mallet of death, which is the black mallet.
Because he's a child.
Yes, because he's a superstitious
Which they
child.
also reference in the first episode of Bridgerton season 1.
That is true. He does say, like, oh, if you steer clear of my lucky mallet. So, we love
They
Easter
actually
eggs.
read the second book, so yeah, we love something.
Apparently they didn't read the third book because they're skipping over for the next season, but we're not going to go over that right now. Not
That's a
bitter
next book
at
problem.
all.
We're going to talk about that next time.
Yeah. So, I'm not upset.
Yes, you are.
So, no, I'm not upset. I'm not upset at all. So, what happens is they play Pall Mall.
I think you're lying. I think we need to put a bingo, another thing on my thing that says lying, because you're lying right now.
Yes, lying. They play Pall Mall, and it's like actually kind of a fun scene.
It is. It's cute because like we get a cameo from Daphne.
Yeah, Daphne shows up and she's like pregnant again or something. I don't know. But like she's preggers, and Simon shows up again, which he didn't in the show.
Because he exists in the second book.
Okay, bye.
But he's coming back for the 3rd season, so you know
I don't know if that's true. I heard like some mixed things about that.
I heard Regé Jean Page is coming back.
I also heard he's not. I heard somebody say that was like not true. I thought he was coming back.
He has another Netflix show though.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna watch it. We should watch it.
Okay.
He's got a sexy British accent in it too.
Okay, I'll watch anything with him in it. He's hot. But like
Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1?
What? He's not in that?
Yes, he is in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1.
When is he in that?
He's in it.
Where?
He's at the wedding. Bill and Fleur's wedding.
No way. You gotta point it out to me. Okay.
No, we will. Sorry.
Okay.
Guys, there's a little bit of trivia.
Cool, cute. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Well, now you do, so let's move on.
You're the one who brought it up.
No, I have said this before. I said that the prince in the first season of Bridgerton and the duke in the first season of Bridgerton are both in the Harry Potter universe.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So they play Pall Mall. It's very cute.
I'm sorry.
It's very cute. They both go to retrieve like one of the balls that like flew in the lake or something.
They're collecting balls.
Yeah, they're collecting balls.
That's so sexy.
Yeah.
Are one of them blue?
No. No, one of them's pink.
I really wish that Anthony had been given the blue balls.
Yeah, that would be funny.
So funny.
That would have been, I think, too on the nose. Even Julia was like,
I gotta show a bit of restraint.
I have to be a little subtle.
Doesn't one of them like not want the yellow mallet or something?
It's the pink mallet. Anthony gets stuck with the pink one.
Oh.
So they play and they go off together because they're looking for the ball, and like they have this moment because he's like, you know, I ask you a question, you have to answer honestly or whatever. And she's
Which
like,
is
sure.
kind of cute. Yeah, kind of cute.
Yeah, that was a cute conversation.
It was cute.
It was cute. It was a little forced, but it was cute. And like he says
this
to her,
whole
he's like,
series is forced.
yeah, that's true. That's 100% true. So fair point.
2 wrongs make a right.
Yes. You just have to accept it. You
X
just
plus
go with it.
negative X equals yes.
Yes, totally. Equals sex. So
X sex.
XXX. Yes, Bridgerton. So
Quoted.
What happens is like he says to her, he's like, "Do you?" And he gets like close to her face. And he's like,
to.
"Still hate me?" And she's like,
Yeah. Even more than ever.
"Yeah." She's like,
Yeah.
We both went,
Yeah, I fucking hate you. I want to tell you how much I fucking hate you.
yeah. She's like, "Yeah." And so
I hate you. I hate you so much.
they go back to the house.
All hot and bothered.
All hot and bothered. But they're getting closer.
Did they kiss?
No, they don't kiss, unfortunately. But they're like clearly attracted to each other. And so they go back to the house, and then that night, Kate like can't sleep because she's all hot and bothered by like what happened on the Pall Mall field. As sports
because she
do,
like
I guess.
hates him. I told you this is enemy to lovers because they hate each other. It's not just a rivalry. It's a I hate your guts and also want to fuck them
I don't think they
out.
do though. That's the thing. I think they like make each other hate each other. Like not really. Like they're attracted to each other and they both resent that fact. So I don't know if it's like true enemies to lovers because I don't think they really hate each other. I think they want to hate each other. You know what I'm saying? That's why I think they're rivals. It's like somebody who's like against your interest.
Tomato, tomato.
Tomato, whatever. So they go back to the house and Kate's like all hot and bothered. So she's like, I'm going to go to the library in the middle of the night and go pick a book. But Kate, which they don't really go over in the show.
Which I wish they did.
Which, yeah, I also wish they did. But a lot of people
We
said
need
that,
a strong,
so.
independent woman who's also an old spinster to have some flaws.
Yeah, she's not perfect. She's got flaws.
She's afraid of thunderstorms.
Yeah. So she's afraid of thunderstorms.
Yeah.
And their thunderstorm happens and she like has a full panic attack, freaks out, and it's really sad.
But she also needs comfort, which is where
Mr. Anthony Bridgerton, the Viscount, shows
she's
up.
like, I hate you, but I also really need you to help me right now.
We gotta have some
Yeah.
like classic masculinity at play where he's like comforting to her when she's upset and crying. So.
Which actually shows you how much he
I'll buy
doesn't
it.
want to hate her.
Yeah, I'll buy it. As much as like
He's like, I
it's
still
pretty
hate
funny.
you, and I want to sleep with you, but I want to sleep with you because I also kind of
and
like
this is
you.
and it's so cute because he comes into the library and she's like under the table, like
Really terrified.
terrified,
Like really bad.
like shaking, curled up, and he's like, Kate. And he says her given name, and he's been calling her Miss Sheffield this whole book.
Ms.
Sheffield. No, Miss. M-I-S-S. Miss. Meaning unmarried. Ms.
Oh.
isn't a term yet. Like,
Oh,
and he says,
whoops.
like, Miss Sheffield. So he's been calling her Miss Sheffield this whole time. So he says, Kate. And he comes under the table, and he, like, curls up with her, and they talk about their dead parents. Put another tile on dead parents, because that comes up again, because Kate has a dead dad, and it's a whole big thing.
And a dead mom.
And a dead mom, yeah. Her mom's
2
death
dead
comes
parents.
up again
so you can
later.
put 2 tiles on top of that, actually.
2 more. I don't know where I put dead parents on.
I
I'm
don't
just gonna
know where you
put it
put
in
dead
spirit.
parents either.
You're the one keeping track.
Yeah,
so.
I am. I'm winning. Because I've got more dead parents than you.
Okay. Whatever floats your boat. Whatever.
More dead parents. I win.
Whatever hits your Pall Mall ball, babe. So, like, she's under the desk and they talk about their parents and it's really cute. and they like share their trauma, and I'm like here for it because we love trauma bonding, which is such a romance novel trope, trauma bonding. And after a while it gets old, but actually in this book, I will say, as silly as it is, this is one of the few books where I feel like the trauma bonding feels a little earned.
It's a bit more tasteful.
Yeah, it feels a little bit more
it's
earned.
Sweet.
Like, it doesn't feel like it came the fuck out of nowhere.
It also doesn't feel like it's forcing anything, because I feel like sometimes trauma bonding, this is my own experience reading stuff, trauma bonding is something that people kind of use as leverage later. But this it doesn't feel like trauma bonding in the same way. It feels like two people who are starting to trust each other are being more comfortable telling the other. Like, he doesn't make a move on her. It doesn't turn into like a sexy moment. It's like,
it's sweet.
She's sad. He empathizes. She says something. He relates. And it's innocent.
Yeah, it's actually really nice. So I will say this is one of the few instances in like a romance where I actually thought the trauma bonding felt a little bit earned. You know, like you're saying. I think you worded that really well. So then like they part ways because she has to go to bed.
Too bad, so sad.
Yeah, I know, it's so sad.
Come to bed with me. Keep me warm.
Yeah. She doesn't say that, but
I wish.
He goes to bed like,
I would.
Whew, you know, affected. Because they just
I need
shared
a bloody
something
wank
like
after that.
Yeah, because they just shared. What was that accent?
I'm not repeating it.
Okay.
I need a bloody wank after that.
Okay, so I think because what happens in the next scene is like a really big deal. I think this is a good place to take a break. What do you think?
A break?
Yes.
What do you say? A break?
Place. Yeah.
I'm out of liquor.
Me too. I need a refill. So we're going to take a break.
And we will be right back after
these messages.
Are you ever in need of a child bride? Well, don't worry. Just go to Regency era England, because you can find a plethora of them anywhere, and somehow it is completely acceptable to do it. So, you know what? All you pedos, just go back in time. We don't need you here. Thanks. You know, love doesn't start on dates. You know, love, it doesn't start through friends, no. It starts on the powwow field. If you're ever feeling in the mood for love, get a powwow set. Hey everyone, it's Roni. I just wanted to say that this episode will be actually, like, legitimately sponsored by our own website, which is www.stopthecoloryellow.com. Yes, you heard me right. Stopthecoloryellow.com. And yes, it is a reference to our previous Sinful, Quinnful Sunday, but that is a real website where you can find information about us. We'll have some bios, we'll have some links, and you can find that as a directory. You can get in contact with us. Any suggestions for future series or anything we should do, we would be more than happy to listen to it. So please go to www.stopthecoloryellow.com to find out more about us. Thanks! And on to your regularly scheduled program. We're back.
Oh my goodness gracious. Share. Oh my god.
Yeah.
So, you know what I realized though, after those wonderful advertisements, that we forgot something on the bingo board.
Was it that it's actually Pow Mal and not Pow Wow?
Well, no, but that is true. But it's that Julia expresses her hatred for the color yellow because at the beginning of the book, there's an article about how Kate looks like, what is that laugh you're doing? She's like eating yogurt like a freak. So like, yogurt. That like there's an article in Lady Whistledown that talks about how Kate looks like, you know, bad in a yellow dress, and that Penelope looks like an overripe citrus fruit and like a singed daffodil or something. So Julie expresses her hatred for the color yellow, as she always does.
Go to www.stopthecoloryellow.com to start our petition to actually annex the color yellow from every vocabulary everywhere.
Nothing is allowed to have yellow colorant in it.
Not even like a lello hue, like nothing. We're trying to get rid of it.
I feel like it deserves a double because it was both Kate and Penelope who got roasted for their yellow dresses. So I feel like it deserves a double tab.
Fair.
Am I right or am I right? So
you are what you are. Which is Rory.
Rory, you see. For those of you who don't know, that's a joke because she literally has like my mic. Like
the name for her mic is Rory Yussi.
Yes.
And all of our previous things have been saved in my laptop as the throne of pussy, crown of
Medusa or something.
The rake and I. This is probably going to be the Vicussi and the Vicussi who loved me Yussi.
I hope so.
Yeah, I'm very clever.
Yeah, she's so
I'm
smart.
so clever.
You're very smart. Shut up. So
I stopped talking because you're right.
So like, what happens next? Where do we leave off? Okay, so they have their moment in the library. They're like bestie boos, and so I think this happens the next day. My memory could be off, but I'm pretty sure this happens the next day. By the way, I'm going totally off the cuff because I've read this book so many times that I confidently could express the plot.
It's one of your favorite books.
It's in my top 3 of the 8 books. It's in my top 3 for sure. I really like this book, as silly and stupid as it is. But so they're in the fucking yogurt. Who does this? She just brings down yogurt. She's like, I'm hungry. I'm like, okay, I guess you can eat yogurt while we're doing this. This is how not seriously we take this podcast compared to the other one.
I just saw it in the fridge when I was getting my fixins for my beverage part 2, and I was like, ooh, coconut yogurt.
Clearly we take Sinful Quinnful Sunday super seriously.
So seriously.
So ew, stop. This isn't a mukbang.
No, it's ASMR.
You're gonna make me vomit. It's like one of my least favorite sounds. Unpopular opinion is people eating.
I'll stop. No, my friend. Okay, completely sidebar. My friend from high school, like my best friend, she had like misophonia. So anytime, any like sounds that were of the category moist would happen, she would have to walk away from like a situation.
Oh, wow.
Or like she would have to get up from the dinner table if people were chewing too loud because she would literally get sick. So I try to be very understanding of those things.
It's okay.
I try.
I'm not quite at that level, but I appreciate your
like even if you were chew gum too aggressively, it would trigger her. It was so bad.
That's so interesting. Oh
well,
my God.
That's it. Misophonia.
That's super interesting. Thank you for telling me that. So, like, moving on to the book after that really interesting sidebar.
Sorry.
And your yogurt. Yogurt. Kate's in like the garden the next day.
Yeah.
And she's just chilling, thinking about, and this is what's interesting, is in her inner monologue.
Her nog.
Her noggin.
Her monologue and login.
Her monologue-anacia.
Her monologue in her noggin.
Say that. Her noggin.
Monologue in her noggin.
She's thinking about how she basically is in love with Anthony. Like she says to herself,
main character has a secret.
Yeah, main character has a secret.
I'm not a bingo bitch.
Yes. So main character has a secret, and
is she also a virgin by chance?
She is, but we're not there yet.
Oh,
but
damn it!
I wasn't gonna put it down yet because we're not at that plot point yet. But technically, yes, she is a virgin. We'll get to it in a second.
A twofold once we say that.
So she's thinking in the garden. She comes to 2 conclusions that are very important. Number 1, that she is secretly,
uncontrollably, irrevocably,
unconditionally, and irrevocably in love with
Edward Cullen.
With Edward Cullen.
I mean,
Anthony Bridgerton. Yeah, I mean Fabio. I mean Anthony Bridgerton. So she's decided she's like basically like she realizes she's in love with him and she kind of wishes that, you know, he would be interested in her, but she accepts that that's never going to be the case. So she says that she's going to she's going to retract
her sex appeal.
She's going to retract her objection to Anthony marrying Edwina.
She's going to slowly lower her skirt back down because it's been hiked around her knee, like tempting him under the table.
Yeah, like,
ooh, oh man, I guess I got to rebutton all these buttons.
Yeah. But yeah, like, oh, and by the way, the reason why Kate's approval is so important, forgot to mention this earlier, is because Edwina sort of vowed, like, that she would never be with someone who her sister didn't approve of.
Which is kind of sweet.
Yeah, which is really sweet. But, like,
it is very sweet, actually.
Anthony needs then like, Kate's
I would beat up
blessing.
My sister if she, like...
just beat the shit out of her.
No, it's more
knock her to the ground and
I would
punch
verbally
her in the face.
beat her up if if she dated someone who saw her as lesser, because I drill into her so much that she is more than anything, that like I would be almost like not mad at her, but mad at the situation. I'd be like, I'd like beat it into her head, rather. Beat her up was a poor term.
I just kick the shit out of her.
I'd kick it into her brain,
metaphorically. I'd curb stomp her ass.
But like I get that. Like as an older sister to like a girl who likes boys somehow. I'm like
this whole men thing.
Yeah, weird guys, you know. I'm like you just find someone who you like who worships you.
Yeah.
I really say so.
And that's what Kate wants for Edwina, which is nice.
Which is why I value that point that Edwina actually takes it to heart. Which it gave me a point, a brownie point.
A nice little brownie point. I also like that that they're step siblings. Like I really like that they're that close, even though they're not related.
It kind of
which the show couldn't commit to. The show made them half sisters.
Those wussies.
Which I think is such a wussy cop out.
Because if anything, it shows you that like Kate is able to be on her own. Like she could find something, she could find a situation, a job, whatever, but she chooses to stay with these people. And she says that, and it's like, it's like we like you know those like really inspirational Tumblr girl things where it's like sisters by chance, friends by choice. Well, they're like sisters by choice, friends by choice. No. Sorry, it's literally the same thing, but it's like our parents were married and then one of them died and you were forced to stay with us by chance.
Yeah.
And then we value each other as biological sisters by choice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like that they also made Mary as the stepmother like a good person, because in the next book, in the third book, we get an evil stepmother. So it's nice to see like the contrast, that at least we include that if you're going to do an evil stepmother in the third book, which we'll get to next podcast, that like they make the stepmother in the second book a really nice person and like a really good person who treats Kate like her own, which I thought was nice. So
I just really wish Kate had someone to make her feel as good as this toasted coconut yogurt is making me feel.
By the way, I just want you all to visualize. I'm talking to her. And I'm talking about this book, and she's just like, with like yogurt in her mouth. She's just studying really her yogurt spoon. Oh my goodness gracious! Not spawns.
Do you want to?
No, I don't want any of your yogurt.
Sorry, I didn't approach it correctly. Here comes the airplane.
Stop. Knowing you would shove it in my mouth without asking, you jerk. That's what she said. But anyway. So what happens is that she's in the garden and she's realizing that she's going to let Anthony marry Edwina, because she realizes he is a good person and that she really doesn't have any real objection to the marriage other than that it would hurt her because she's in love with him. And so he approaches her in the garden.
Which makes her a good sister.
Yeah, that was really nice. I like that a lot. That
she's relinquishing her feelings for a man.
But that's also her fatal flaw, we learned. That her and Anthony both do this thing where they put other people's needs before their own.
Because Anthony, he has his duty to his family. He has his duty to himself. He has his promise to himself.
Yeah. Which, cut to the show for 2 seconds, by the way.
Fine.
One of the best lines in that whole show. I for real, because it, to me, captured the essence of the book so well.
You were the bane of my existence.
No, that was a great line. But we'll talk about that. But one of my favorite lines is when he says before they have sex, he's like, before we finally do something for ourselves. And I was like, that is such a good line. Because it's so accurate. Like, it's like clearly they understood those characters.
Which makes me even more upset that they're doing Penelope and Colin next.
Okay, we'll get to that because I will rant about it in the next podcast.
Okay, sorry, continue. Next one, not the next one. The fourth one, which I am leading.
Yeah, but I'll still rant about it in the third one because they're skipping, they're making the third season, not the third book. So
fine.
We'll do both. I'll rant in both. I can rant in both.
Okay.
I'm that mad. So
I can imagine.
That was such a good line in the show that they added that. I'm like, before we do something for ourselves, I'm like, perfect.
Because
chef's kiss.
There's a lot of dialogue and like cool stuff that happens in this book, but these little like chapters can be summarized as like, we're just not doing what we each want to do.
Right. That's basically, yeah.
We're putting our fears, we're putting society, we're putting the world, we're putting our families ahead of, at the end of the day, stands between us and true happiness.
Right. Exactly. So
see, I can be philosophical while drunk.
Yeah.
It's all because of the toasted coconut. It's making me really sentimental.
Yeah, but it's even Antony's decision to not want to get married stems from a place of selflessness. Like, he doesn't want his wife to go through what his mother and his family went through. Like, that's even the extent to which Antony believes in his own responsibility. And as silly as I think his motivations are, it's an extension of his belief that he can't do things for his own happiness.
Which is why I'm so happy that finally Violet Bridgerton in the series, like, come on! She's a queen.
Yeah, she's a queen.
But, like, she finally is like, listen, I would not have traded a single day of loving your father. Like, for one more, I would not have traded anything for, like.
I wish that would have been in the book, to be honest.
I wish it was too, because that really got through his fucking thick skull.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice that in the show that as much as love is like the end goal, because it is a romance show, that
I settled for mediocrity.
That it was other factors besides love itself that healed his trauma.
Yeah.
You know, because in the book, it's basically like he decides to love Kate and he's so happy with loving her that he forgets all that. And I'm like, that's fine
it's
and
not
dandy,
realistic.
but yeah.
He needs to overcome the trauma as well as, like, you know, like.
Right, exactly.
It's obviously some sort of anxiety-based fear, and you don't just overcome anxiety by saying, I like this.
Right.
No, you gotta,
or like this ingrained belief in yourself that your needs are not as important as those of other people.
You don't just come over that. Like, I feel like, in a realistic sense, I'm so glad they incorporated that scene with Violet for those reasons.
Right,
he needed a stern talking to. He needed something like psychological to get through. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. So I like that, and again, I love that line from the show. I thought that
it doesn't
was
happen
great.
in the book.
Doesn't happen in the book. Wish
No.
it did. But anyway. So they're in the garden or whatever, and this is where shit gets hilarious.
Oh, I love this scene. I, like, screamed.
They did this scene very different in the show.
They did.
And in the show, I thought it actually played out beautifully.
We'll get. Do we want to talk about why at the end, because that's the whole thing?
I feel like I'm going to forget it, to be honest. So I'm going to talk
probably.
about the book, and then I'll talk about how the show did that scene, because that scene is pivotal.
Okay.
In both.
Agreed. I just didn't know.
So that way it's like, I'm at least
you can
a
tell that we
organized.
really don't plan any of this.
Not the Quinnful Sundays, not at all. But so what happens in the book is that she gets stung by a bee on her boob, basically, like on her breast. And,
hi, I'm Michael with a bee, and I've been afraid of insects my whole life.
Yeah, she gets stung by a bee, and he flips the fuck out. He's like.
He's flashback to the Nom Wars.
Yeah, it's
really upsetting to read, and they did it
full
so well. They capture his panic so well in the scene.
Well, I think that's a tribute to Jonathan Bailey's acting, because he was fantastic in that scene. He captured having like a full on panic attack.
But just imagine that transposed into the book, right. Because it feels like it was. I felt
in the book though, I thought it was less like he just sort of froze and then acted like a psycho. Like in the show, it came off a little bit more like how someone would have a panic attack based on like past trauma. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
but like. I like recalling the book. That's how I kind of self-inserted the trauma bit, because I guess I was like,
because you liked it. That's fine.
I like the trauma, but it's also like I don't understand how there wouldn't be trauma with seeing someone who you've admitted to caring about being stung by the thing that stole your father. And no, I'm not talking about your little sister. The plant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it does make a difference that in the show he sees it, not Eloise.
Yeah, that is a difference.
Because it doesn't affect Eloise at all. Like, it literally does not affect Eloise even in the slightest that she was the one who was with him. I like that they changed it, because it makes more sense, because it ties into his trauma a lot more. So that was a good change, actually.
Good choice.
So, anyway, he's like fucking freaking out, and she's like, what? You know? And this scene, some people have issue with, because they take it as a little bit like non-consensual.
Mind you, he's also panicked, frozen, and he doesn't know what the F to do.
I mean, I get the argument that, like, you know, don't touch people without their consent, but he, in his situation, I will say that I don't think it comes off like
as
SA,
like
because it's not a sexual thing.
It is not presented sexually at all.
Yeah, it's not a sexual scene. I've seen people on the internet trying to present it like he's touching her titty like without her consent, and I'm like, not really. So
no,
I don't buy that, guys.
What he does is he tries to suck the venom.
Poison out, which is so silly. Like, I know we just went on about how brilliant the trauma is, but in the show, it's not. He doesn't do that, so it's not silly.
But like, as someone from that time, mind you, Regency time, who saw their dad, knew their dad died from a bee sting, you would think the bee poisoned them because allergies don't really like...
Yeah, they don't understand like
at least to the same extent because his
autoimmune diseases.
Think of it. He said he's seen his dad stung before, right? Mm-hmm. So he was like, this bee was poisoned. There was something about this bee that was like really poisoning him. Mm-hmm. And so now he wasn't with Eloise when it happened. Mm-hmm. And he has her to suck the venom out of a sting.
Right.
And so he's like, I wasn't there to save my father. I can be there to save Kate.
That's true. That's totally true. It's still hilarious.
It is so hilarious. It is so fucking funny. I'm explaining it now, and I completely am like leaving out the fact that he full on puckered her breasticle and tried to suck it.
The poison out.
Like, I think that counts as a...
And I've said this
kiss
before.
count.
I've said this before because I made a whole like ranty video for myself about this season, and I've said this before that I read the book before the season came out, and I was so curious how they were gonna pull this off.
Me too. I was
because it came off even in the book so fucking silly, and there's so many things in books that I think are less silly in written form and like have to be changed for the physical and I was like, there's no way they're gonna have him suck the fucking poison out because it was stupid in the book and it's stupid now. It was so silly, and she's just there like,
she's like, sir, you're off by about like 3 inches.
Yeah, it's so funny.
She's like, that's not how you do it here.
Like, dude, it's so fucking funny. I laughed my ass off at that scene. I was like, what is going on right now?
We were at camp, and I was reading it in the bunk. I was like,
yeah, that was so good.
Do you remember I told you the next day?
You were like, what just happened?
I was reading. We worked together at a sleepaway, and this is where I read most of the Bridgerton books.
Yeah. This is basically where we got the concept for this, that we kept exchanging ideas at camp.
And then
about,
it finally
like,
came
books.
to fruition.
Yeah.
But like, I remember going up to her the next day, and I'm like, why did I just read a story about a man trying to suck the venom out of a tit? While there were 14 sleeping 7-year-olds in my bunk, like, what did you put me here to do?
Oh my god, I used to read Bridgerton all the time with like these 8-year-olds like in the same room, and I felt so weird.
I'm like, I feel like they shouldn't even know what a bee sting is. They're too young for this.
Yeah. So like, he sucks the poison out, and a YouTuber who I love, Julia Cudney, she sort of said this, and I agree with her, that the reason why that this bee contrivance probably happened was to justify the like lack of like to justify their forced marriage on the bingo board, that because they couldn't have had Anthony and Kate just kissing in the garden, even though by this time they'd kissed already, and they were basically,
but it wasn't in public.
They were basically BFFs by this point, so they could have like theoretically just been caught kissing, but because that would have been too similar to Simon and Daphne, she had to come up with some other contrived reason for them to get caught.
Which going to second base in the middle of the garden. Julia Quinn was like, you know what? We're not going to just do kissing in the garden. There's no going to be like, no, we're fully going to be sucking a tit in the garden. Second base. At least there was no tit exposed. Like, titties weren't flying like what Anthony had to see with Daphne. Like,
yeah, no, it's very like, but anyway, so what happens is, so I
somehow
agree with
this
her.
one is like less sexy, but even more sexy based on how people take it, because who finds them in the garden?
Oh my god, okay,
this is even better than Anthony trying to stalk the Duke of Hastings.
Why don't you tell them who's in the garden? Who finds them in the garden? Do you remember?
His mom.
Yes, his mom. She's like, oh dear.
She's like, oh no. Isn't it also like...
It's Portia Featherington.
Yeah.
And I forget who else. I think maybe Lady Danbury.
I believe it was Lady Danbury.
I think so.
And
they were all... tell us if we're wrong.
And they know with Portia there, they can't get away with anything.
Right, because she's a blabbermouth.
She is such a blabbermouth.
And she's like, he had his lip on your titties. You have to get married now.
Yeah, and they're kind of... Lady Danbury and...
Oh, I got bingo again, by the way, for forced marriage. We both have so many bingos.
You know what? A scandal. I just got 1, 2.
It is a scandal. That's
3.
true. It becomes kind of a scandal because there's like a rumor because they have to get married so quick.
Yeah, but like it is so funny because he's like done saving her life in his opinion. He's like, I got the venom out.
Like, wow, look at me.
He's like, look at me, macho man, save woman. I save woman. Boob is safe. Poison is gone.
I've done
banging
my
on the
duty.
chest, and then it's Violet Bridgerton. Anthony. What did you just do? And Portia's like, oh my gosh!
I'm gonna tell them at my book club what happened today.
At my spinning circle.
Lady Danbury's like, oh.
I've been there. Cool.
Lady Danbury's like,
I saw this coming.
Yeah, how was it? Like, so it looks like basically that he was sucking on her.
Featherington will not let this one come to pass.
Yeah, so it
That
seems
was
like
pretty good.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Honestly.
wow.
I sharpened
Lady
my
Danbury,
wit.
watch out. I'm coming for your part.
I sharpened my wit and my wardrobe. She enunciates every single word she says on the show.
I sharpened my wit and my wardrobe.
It's so funny.
That's pretty good.
No, yeah, that was good.
All right. Sorry. But yeah, the 3 women who you never want to see with a girl while her tit is being actively sucked like a vampire trying to get the last bit of titty juice out.
Yeah.
It's like your mom, her friend who's not really her friend,
Yeah.
and the woman who's just always there.
Yep, pretty much. So what happens is
I'm going to put another one on Lady Danbury, by the way.
I agree. I think that deserves it.
I feel like we've said tit too many times.
I know. Sorry, guys. But
No, it's
okay.
probably me just saying tit too many times. I'm drunk.
It's okay. So what ends
This
up
is what
happening?
happens.
We get too drunk on these ones because they're so silly. So sippy. So what ends up happening is that Antony's like, Kate's like protesting. She's like, "What? No way!" Like, 'cause I think like it kind of says in the book that she just doesn't want to trap him into marriage. Like she feels guilty
because she finally gave. I think deep down at this point, she still really thinks that Antony just wants to be with Edwina.
Right, she does, which is so hilarious and stupid.
Because she's like, I don't want to force him into it when he wanted to be with Edwina, and then I got in the way. I was just being the obnoxious sister. And he's like, meanwhile, like, not able to sleep because his withered loins are too, like...
He's too focused on...
Like, he can't sleep because it's winter and there's a tent going on.
Yeah, basically.
He's got no covers.
No, nothing.
That's how
Absolutely
excited
nothing.
he is.
Yeah, he's real excited. So he says basically, fuck it. And he says, okay, we'll be married like next week. And Kate's like, what? And everyone else is like, what?
And Edwina's like, okay.
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 By the way, I just want y'all to know that in the book, Edwina, we're not exaggerating. We have barely mentioned Edwina.
Because she's barely mentioned.
Barely there.
She's just like there.
Yeah. Also, continuity error, or not continuity, but historical like error that made me notice, because most of the time I don't notice like the historical stuff, or I don't care enough to mention it. Okay, don't look at me like that. I do notice, but I don't care enough to mention it because it's silly like fantasy romance. Stop licking the yogurt like that. I wish you guys could see this. Actually, I don't. You'd be scarred. But like, the one thing I did notice is when Edwina's sick and they go to like the ball, she says, "Oh, Edwina's in bed reading that book by that Austen woman." When Jane Austen first published her novels, it was under anonymous or under a lady because women were not allowed to put their names on novels. So that's a
Sexism.
Historical error. Anyway, sorry, that's the history nerd in me. So,
or maybe they're just so part of high society that they know this.
I don't think so. But maybe they know her personally. I don't know, but I don't think they would have called her that Austen woman. But so what ends up happening is they have to get married. So what he does though is now that they're engaged, at the same like literally 2 seconds later, like he pulls her into the garden and he says fuck it, and they have this whole makeout session. Yeah, go ahead. So kisses.
We added another kiss to the kiss meter because I can't.
I think we should put a bingo down on hanky panky before marriage.
You think that they tongue fucked?
They basically they go to second base.
He already went to second base when he put his mouth on her tit.
That doesn't count. I feel like this is sexy.
I think
like
that counted.
They basically almost fuck in the garden. So I'm gonna put hanky panky before marriage because this would be hanky panky for Regency. I feel like it counts.
I'm about to hiccup or burp or
both.
both.
Okay. I was like, why are you looking at me weird? Oh, it's because she's gonna. Nice. That didn't sound weird at all.
It was like a hiccup burp.
Unless you like, I'm gonna put hanky panky before marriage just cause we've both already made bingo at this point.
Oh, bitch! Cares? I just got another bingo.
Like, and
bam.
And who fucking cares?
At this point, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter.
The point is, we have so many tropes. I feel like they should not happen in one book, and we're playing. So you know those TikTok videos of women at bingo and they have to fill up the entire board. That's us right now. We're going for it. The caller's like 52, and we're just like, yeah, longtime crush, a virgin, lying, Lady Danbury, a rake, dead parents.
Oh my God, that was so loud. But we can put bingo down for a virgin because Kate is in fact a virgin.
Well, not anymore in the garden.
Well, she's still technically a virgin, but she hasn't, finished the deed, so to speak.
Okay.
So her and Antony are engaged.
They're gay. I was like,
they're gay.
I wish.
Turns out she was a man the whole time.
Listen, the straight side of me loves this pairing, but the gay side of me is like,
gay. Don't worry, we'll get some more gays later. The gays show up in these books. They just aren't main characters.
They're also the butt of the jokes.
That's true. But
like me.
There's a nice gay guy in the 8th one. You haven't gotten to that one yet.
Nice gays?
Yeah,
I've never met those before.
I don't.
They're always evil and vindictive and make fun of their friends.
I'm so shook that like Julia hasn't indulged in the GBF like stereotype yet because none of
seriously.
I've read so many of her books.
Wouldn't
and none
a
of them have a gay
Regency gay be like so much fun? Like, listen, Kate, I love you, honey, but that man, you need to let him give you a bit of a kiss because you know what? You can trap that bitch.
Oh my God, stop. Okay, I promise we're not homophobes. We're making fun of
I've literally dated
other
women.
Authors. We're making fun of other authors. That was a joke. So yeah, I'm surprised that
literally,
like in all her
I have dated women. This isn't homophobic. This is true. This is canon. This is my experience.
So like I'm shocked she hasn't indulged in the GBF stereotype of all the things she's like done in these books. I'm shocked. So I mean,
that color yellow is absolutely trash. Lady Danbury, she had it right.
Yeah, she had it right, bitch. So what ends up? So she.
Well, you can't say it because that's homophobic.
Shut up. So her Antony and Kate like make out in the garden. It's a whole like scene. And what ends up happening is Mary talks to Kate about her wedding night, which is basically to show more contrast between the first book and the second book, because Daphne's mother basically told her fucking nothing.
That was so funny. That was one of my
so funny.
Love that
best scene in the book. But in the second book, and Mary, and in the show, Mary explicitly says, "I vowed to never let any daughter of mine go into the marriage bed like ignorant." And I'm like, good for you, Mary. Snaps.
That's a first.
Yeah, that's great. But I honestly think she probably just put that in there because, again, the books are very similar. And she was like, it's not the same book, guys. I swear. It's not the same book. Even though it kind of is.
Yeah, because this book is so much better.
It is. It actually is. It's basically The Duke and I, but better, I think.
There's also... we'll get to it.
Yeah. Anyway, so they had that conversation. Nice burp. I love that.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. You signed up for this. You knew we were drinking.
Yeah, I
got a bit of rumbly tummy.
Yeah, we're already at that point. So her and Antony get married. Julia doesn't really write weddings. It's just like a blurb. She's like, so they got married. And you're like, okay.
And they're like, oh, fun.
Yeah, there's no real
so
wedding.
No objections?
So again, agree with Julia Cudney because she said the same thing and I agree. It's like, what were all these people fucking complaining about? They didn't get to see Antony and Kate have a wedding. They didn't get a fucking wedding in the book. What are you all complaining about? Mm-mm. Like, did you read the same book? Like, they don't get a wedding in the book. It's literally just they got married.
Because it was like, we have more time. We want something we didn't get.
I guess, but I'm like, okay, guys, like...
manage your expectations is what we're really saying. Lower your standards.
Quote Gabby Hanna, manage your expectations.
Oh my gosh.
Gross. Anyway, so they get married. They get married, and this is the questionable scene, but again, I feel like, and Julia Cudney has also pointed this out, that every Bridgerton book has a level of sexism that you just have to be okay with. Like, I feel like your favorite book or least favorite book is going to depend on what sexist thing you find the most egregious.
Yeah.
And in this book, Kate's like, I want to hold off having sex because she's kind of unnerved by him, although Julia does kind of imply she wants to have sex with him, but she's scared of having sex with him. And he's like
a whole ass man, and she's a whole ass 22-year-old.
Yeah, he's like a full whole ass man, and he's like, I don't like being denied my rights, and I'm like, ew, that's gross.
That's
again not cool with it, but when you read these kind of books, you have to like literally
we just said it, but manage your expectations, because although this was written by someone in the early 2000s, it is based in a time where this was considered the norm, and this was honestly considered a bit sexy.
Yeah, and people for some reason,
it was
even
an expectation.
In the early 2000s, thought this was
an
sexy.
expectation. You went to the wedding bed thinking that you had little to no choice.
And believe it or not, this is not the worst thing. This is not the worst thing to me. Some of these male protagonists say or do, because for the most part, like I'm like whatever.
It sucks, which is why this kind of part of the talk always is like a bit uncomfy.
I just pretend that scene doesn't happen. So
we pretend it doesn't
happen,
but also we understand contextually in
I
wouldn't
history, blame you if
it
that's
was a common
off.
thing.
Yeah.
It is a turn off. Like you said, it depends on what kind of sexist stereotype or what sexist situation you don't jive with.
Right. Every single male protagonist in all of the Bridgerton books and everything Julia Quinn's ever written are sexist to some degree, because I guess of the time period she's writing in, and it's literally just you're just not going to like it based on your particular, like, what thing you don't like the most. And this to me, for some reason, I'm sorry, doesn't bother me more than what other male characters in this series do, so I kind of tend to overlook it because it's like the only thing Anthony does in the whole book that I think is gross. Like, for the most part, he's okay. So I just pretend it doesn't happen so I can enjoy the book, because I like everything else.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I know that sounds so childish and stupid, but these are stupid books, so I think I can be stupid. Why are you so gross? She's licking her yogurt, you fucking gross. Like, weirdo. Oh, my God.
Don't look at me. I'm enjoying my coconut.
She's literally... Oh, my God. I can't. So... They get married, then they have sex because she gives in. She gives
hanky-panky after marriage.
And that, you know what I love? You know what trope I love in romance? Oh yeah, hanky-panky after marriage.
What's the trope that you love?
It's silly and stupid.
The earthquaking orgasm.
No! I mean, yes, but no! You know what I like? And I acknowledge it's silly and stupid, and I both laugh and swoon at the same time every time it happens, is when one character has to admit to the other character that they think they're attractive. You know what I mean? Like he says to her, he's like, "Do you not want to have sex with me? Like, do I repulse you because like they have to get forced married?"
She's like, "No,
and
it's the opposite. You repulse me so much, my loins are on fire. Right? Whenever I walk into a room, I can't sit down."
I don't know why I think that's so hot. I'm like, ew. Not that. Not what
I don't even know what I just said.
Not what you said. But not what you said. But that idea of like, you know, where he's like, "Do I repulse you?" And she's like, "No, that is not the problem."
Quite the opposite, actually.
I think you're super, super hot. And he's like, "Oh, sick." You know?
Like, nice.
I'm like, yeah.
It's like, yeah, we can do it.
I don't know why. All of you can judge me, but everybody has like a one like romantic trope that like gets them. And I like that one. I don't know why. I just do. It's silly and stupid. And I remember the first time I read that scene, I laughed and also was like, I'm here for it.
I don't really know what mine is. I know what tropes I enjoy, but I don't know what my, like, romance trope is.
It's not, like, the number one. I have a few, but...
I know, but, like, I don't even know what my top few are.
I feel like when they come up, you'll be able to tell me.
Yeah, I'll probably be able to.
Yeah, but you'll be able to tell me when they come up, because I know you have them. You just...
one of the tropes I do like is present in the 5th book.
Okay, that makes sense. So, we'll get to that when we get to that.
I'm covering that one, so...
Yeah, you'll cover that one, so that's fine. But... So they get to the hanky-panky. It's, of course, mind-blowing, even though...
More than one hanky-panky scene!
More than one hanky-panky scene. We have so many bingos.
I literally only have 2 missing. This is kind of upsetting.
Yeah, that's hilarious that we only have 2 squares left of the bingo board on both our boards.
And, that's it for the bingo board, because I'm looking at them. There will not be any more included.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
We win! You win, too, because everyone's a winner, except for Rory, because she loses, because
okay, sure. The only 2 left are Longtime Crush and Evil Relatives, which this is one of the few books that doesn't have fucking evil relatives. I'm pretty impressed, because most of them do.
Yes. The next book is only evil relatives. We're going to have, like, an entire Scrabble board just stacked on top of our 1 pieces of paper to the ceiling for the next one.
Yeah, it's going to be so funny. I love the next one.
So they do the hanky-panky. It's mind-blowing, earth-shattering.
Yeah, even though, like, she's a virgin and he slept with, like, thousands of people, like, it's...
She's like, you really know your way around.
Yeah, he's like,
clitoris.
It's never been that good. I think he says that. I'm pretty sure. He's like, it's never been so good.
I'm disgusted by what I just said.
What did you say?
You really know your way around the clitoris.
I hate you. Oh my god. Yeah, well.
At least he can find it.
At least, yeah, right. At least you can find it. I have one piece left that's an R. That's kind of funny. Capital
It's
R.
me.
I'm talking about my Scrabble thing. So,
we are drunk, so
sorry guys. So
you signed up for this.
They kind of sort of settle into married life. Oh, and a conversation he had with her, I forgot to cover this before they got married. It was a small scene, but he basically tells her, and that's another more than one hanky-panky scene, because they, like, get to second base again, and he, like, pulls her dress down and all this stuff. Where he basically just tells her, like, I like you, I'm fond of you, we're friends, but I can never love you.
And she's like, what?
And it kind of low-key crushes her.
She's like, you shatter my world.
Yeah, she's really upset by that, but she pretends like she's not.
She's like, you make love, why can't you give love?
Exactly. She kind of does say that. That's pretty funny.
It's yeah.
So anyway, that's just an important scene, but like they sort of start to settle into married life, and they both are mutually falling in love with the other, and they both realize that they fall in love with the other but won't admit it. And then we find out later also why Kate's afraid of storms, and they go talk to Mary, and it's a whole stupid scene, and it's basically just like about how Kate's mother died during a storm, and it scarred her.
And they couldn't get any help because of the storm, right?
Yeah, or something like that, and it scarred her. I'm like, interesting, but not really like...
MC has a secret.
MC has a secret. Put another one down. So yeah, that's her whole trauma, which is like, okay, cool. At least she has some. So
holy shit!
At least she has some. But
at least she has some dead parent trauma.
No, at least she has a backstory that's interesting.
You just said it wasn't interesting.
I mean, it's not like interesting. Like,
it's not great.
Oh my god! But at least it's like something. You know what I mean?
At least her parent died. Beep beep.
I mean, at least she has depth, is my point. It might not be the most interesting, but at least it's like a
At least it's not like, I don't like thunderstorms because they rumbly.
Yeah, like, at least there's a reason. So,
oh my god,
she's got her own shit going on.
Her panic attack was totally warranted.
Yeah, there had to be a reason, you know? Yeah. So that happens, and then Anthony realizes that he's basically in love with Kate, because then they have sex again. So another tile for more than one hanky-panky scene.
Their hanky-panky scenes are... chef's kiss.
Yeah, they're pretty good. So, honestly, though, this one's kind of quick. Because
so what do you think our
kiss
count is now? Like...
Oh my god, we're disgusting.
I was just slapping my face.
So, they have sex again, and she basically says, oh, I wish we could stay here forever, and that freaks him out. So, he goes back
he's like, in this bed right here, together, in proximity.
Like, what? So, like a frat boy, he kind of like...
Yeah, bro. I love having sex with you.
I'm a fuck man.
He's like, I love sexing you up. I like sexing women up. Sexing women up is my favorite pastime. You're just one of my pastimes. Yeah.
It's like Eliza Schlesinger.
Let's do a beer bong.
It's like Eliza Schlesinger where she's like, I'm a fuck man. You can't get me. Like, he's like, what?
He's like, he flips his baseball cap around. Yeah, he's in like, bed, and he's like, yeah.
You don't get it.
He puts on his, like, cargo shorts and his sandals.
Yeah, he's like, sorry, dude, I'm a fuck man.
His socks and sandals, and she's like, excuse me?
Okay, so he goes back to his house, like, or the Bridgerton house, rather, to basically hide from her. And she finds him there, because she's like, where the fuck else would you go, you dumb fuck? Like, of course you're here.
What's up with these men and running away?
I know, it's so weird. And like,
that's not my favorite trope. Men who can't deal with their issues.
That is literally my least favorite trope, is when the men run away. It's so annoying. And she does it in so many of these books. They run away. And I'm like,
I just want the woman to run away.
Well, Daphne kind of runs away in the first one.
She stays put.
Really?
She does.
She goes to London.
She goes to London after her husband leaves her.
Oh, that's true. Okay, you're right.
Like, I know it's, like, again, not exactly what would happen for the time, but, like, I would rather the woman leave because she's like, this is kind of effed.
Yeah.
Rather than the man leave because
it's
getting too intense.
Yeah, because he's like a
and
pissy
his
little
man pee-ass brain can't deal. Can you tell why I've only dated women to this point?
Yeah.
I like them both, but I'm like, I can't deal with this little shit brain.
Yeah, for real. Anyway, they get into a fight, and she's like, fuck you, babe. Like, this sucks.
You suck!
And eventually he, like, realizes after, like
that he sucks.
That he's being stupid as fuck. I forget who he has a conversation with. It might be his brothers or something.
It's definitely not his mom.
It's definitely not his mom, yeah.
Because that scene is a piece of gold that you can find in the show.
Yeah, in the show. That was a really good scene. But he doesn't, like, you know, whatever. And so he's like, oh, I'm going to go apologize to my wife. And
My wife.
and he goes to the park, and she gets into like a carriage accident and breaks her leg, which was also kind of hilarious. I'm such a dick. I like thought
we love trauma.
I thought that scene was so funny because the way it plays out is like
it's the same. It's like literally the same as the first book. The man realizes he wronged his wife, goes back to his wife, an accident happens where they're like
in the park.
Oh shit.
But it's so funny that like Julia equates carriage accidents to like car accidents. Like so many people keep getting into carriage accidents. I'm like, that's not a thing.
We need another fucking title on this for accidents involving carriages
or horses
and the park.
Yeah, for real. Like carriage accidents are not like car accidents, babe. Nobody's going that fast in the park. I'm sorry.
No, I've seen like they're taking off like Roadrunner.
Just full on speed. So she gets into this carriage accident and she breaks her leg.
Haven't you seen how dangerous the landing is in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire? Those carriages are a freaking death trap.
Oh my god, stop. So she breaks her leg and she goes home and he basically like is like, I'm in love with you, Kate. And she's like, I'm in love with you too, and it's fine. And that's where it ends.
The end.
It's basically where it ends. That's
basically where it ends. He is like, I would rather love you than not let myself love you. He's like, I'd rather love you and die young.
Yeah. And then of course in the epilogue, in the second epilogue or whatever, he's fine. Like he's fine.
They have children.
They have kids. He reaches the same age his father did and doesn't die.
Yeah, he like gets to the eve of his birthday. He's like, this is it. I'm gonna drop dead. Oh wait.
She's like, no, you're not.
And he's like, oh wait, I'm still here. I beat generational trauma. I win.
Yeah. She's like, cool. Knew it.
She's like, okay, let's get back to life.
Yeah, basically.
I am pregnant again.
Oh, yeah. Is she?
I believe she's pregnant. And because he's worried about not seeing the birth of his child or something.
Oh.
That sounds very reminiscent.
Charlotte then was the youngest, so it's like
Edmund was the first child, which is very cute.
I hope they keep that in the show.
They
like
better.
If we see Anthony and Kate's kids, that they name their first.
Oh wow!
That they name their first kid Edmund. That it's another boy, and they name it Edmund.
I like how in the show there's like a thing where he like has his hands on 3, and then he switches it to 4 as he faces it to her, and that's referencing how many kids they have.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, but that's the end of this book, and we know we trashed it. We know we trashed it.
I love this book.
This is a good book. This is probably second for me.
Yeah, I love this book. I love Enemies to Lovers. I'm such a sucker for Enemies to Lovers. I'm a big fucking
This might be tied for second for me, honestly.
Yeah?
I really like the 5th book.
I don't know why. I hate the
There's
5th
some
book
tropes
with like
I like the tropes.
Burning passion.
I like the tropes.
You can like the tropes. I despise the 5th one with like a burning passion. I hate that one. I'm sorry.
You know,
and I love Eloise.
You're an English person, so let me do this. You to the 5th book as I am to you. You ... 5th book ... I ... you. It means you hate the 5th book like I fucking hate your guts.
Oh, cool. Good to know. You know what? I say that.
You never seen those simile things?
No.
Oh my god.
I say that, but I don't really hate any of these books. No. I say it like
I accept the first book.
I hate that one. Oh, I hate the first one. Like, I actually genuinely hate the first one. I don't hate the 5th one. That was kind of me being, like, hyperbolic. But, like, I don't hate the 5th one. It's just not my favorite. It's, like, one of my least favorites.
Well, because I remember I was first reading it. I was like, I really like this one. You're like, what?
It's like, okay. It's just it's not tropes I can get behind. They're not my faves. But the second book, I think everyone can get behind, to be honest, because it's the good things.
Everything you need.
Well, it's all the good things about the first one without a lot of the shitty stuff about the first one.
Like the shitty main character, the shitty situation, like the lying.
Essaying, crossing the line. Like, yeah, the second book
it only
is
has a few legs up, like 20.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like now's a good time to talk about why the second season of Bridgerton is fucking amazing.
Oh my god, it's so
They made the
good.
right choices. They made the right choices. They were like, okay, we're not going to repeat the first season.
Well, they couldn't.
So they didn't. They added in, like, we didn't really talk about the bee scene and what exactly happened, but what happened in the show.
Yeah, I did kind of get off track with
what
that.
happened with the show is he sees her get stung, and instead of it being like a freeze and let me suck your boob, it was him freaking out, having a panic attack. She's like, hey, you. And she eventually realizes what is happening. So she takes his hand in a nice way and she like presses it over her chest so he can feel her heart beating and her breathing, and it calms him down. And that was really, really sweet. It made me like tear up. I watched it with you and I was like, oh my gosh, I like this.
Well, it's so great too because they keep it a pivotal scene.
They do.
Like in the book, it's where their forced marriage happens. But in the show, they keep it just as important in that it's where they both realize they're attracted to each other.
Yeah.
And they have like an intimate moment together that they share.
Both wish there was a longer one or more, but like
it was
really nice, and they weren't caught for this. So
and look, people complain that this season wasn't as accurate to the book, and like, you know, as a book reader, I get that because there are some things that happen in the book I kind of wish. What are you laughing about? You freak!
Like the freaking Eloise plot line.
Oh my god, stop. So,
like the whole Theo thing, the whole Penelope thing,
gross.
The whole that thing, the whole Colin
Sir Philip
thing,
ain't my favorite
the whole
guy,
Benedict thing,
but the Theo thing was stupid to me.
I like if this show was not based on a book, I would love it. Hands down. It would be my cup of tea. It would be my drama. It would be my everything. I would love it. For those of you who have not actually read the books and are just relying on our completely drunken account of it, I envy you because you're able to appreciate Bridgerton for the trash Shonda Rhimes
show that it is.
But we have this expectation of near perfection, and we cannot achieve it.
Well, because you know what's funny is, as silly as these books are, you get so invested in these romances.
Are.
I don't know why. I'm ashamed to admit it because I've read
reason why they print them on the shitty papers, because they sell fucking insane amount of copies.
Yeah, like I am so ashamed to admit it because I've read so many like Regency or period drama books. I love period romance, and these books I got obsessed with.
Can I just say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
We can cut this out if you think it's too bad.
Okay.
But honestly, I feel like most women who read these kind of trashy romance have like a degradation kink, and they kind of
you know, I kind of agree because that's literally me. It's like kind of strong women with careers,
a strong woman who has her independent mind, but yet she is somehow topped, dominated, and fucked insanely by this stronger man. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Like, come on. Am I wrong?
No, you're totally right, I think.
Okay.
We love you, strong
Someone
ladies.
who really values himself would not read this book. We're all whores. It's just to what extent you're comfortable saying it.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you're not comfortable saying it out loud right now, we will help you get there. There's no shame in being
my goodness gracious.
Someone who loves
I hope
being
you all
degraded.
know that we're just being dicks. Like, this is just for funsies. But like,
this is for funsies, but am I wrong?
Funny, but, yeah, no, I think you're right. But
I'm actually speaking for myself. Call me a jerk, an asshole, a horrible thing at work. I will beat you up. My Leo rising will tear you a fucking new asshole.
Okay, Cancer with a Pisces moon. Okay.
I just found out recently I'm Leo rising, so that explains a lot.
Ooh, that's funny. That's hilarious because like literally nothing about you is a Leo.
Fuck you. You haven't seen me in the workforce.
Maybe in the workplace.
I am vicious.
Yeah,
I can get vicious.
But anyway, off of astrology.
No. My point is, listen. Yeah. Yeah. You interrupted my tangent.
I'm sorry. But the point being,
I love being dominated, okay? That's it.
The point being,
I assert myself. I am dominating outside of my own little personal internal hell. And in that internal hell, I like being the Regency era maid who has to be forced into a marriage because a man was sucking my boob.
Wow. You know, that felt really personal, but I feel like a lot of people listening relate super hard, whether they're going to admit it or not. But the second season wasn't as accurate to the book, and I've said this before to you, but like that because they really didn't want to copy and paste the first season like the second book did to the first book. So they had to because they didn't want to look like they were doing the same thing.
Didn't like some of the Lady Whistledown points.
Oh my god, that was
I feel like we need to have a whole episode
on Lady Whistledown.
Especially
once we get to the fourth book.
Once we get to the fourth book, we need to have a very special episode about it because I was so mad. Like, genuinely. You remember how mad I was.
Yeah, you got really mad.
I got so
You were so
mad.
pissed.
I was so pissed because, newsflash, one of my favorite characters is show Eloise. Like, show Eloise, I feel like I really appreciate as a character. I like what they've done with her.
Right. Don't let book readers, by the way, gaslight you that Eloise in the books is even close to Eloise in the show.
They're
not the same
Which
character.
is why I preface saying that show Eloise is my favorite character. She's my favorite sibling besides Benedict. But I really hate what they did.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll talk about it later. I do like book Eloise though too.
I don't hate her. She's just not the same.
Just not no. You have to decide for them because they're so different. But yeah, I was so mad. Like we finished it. I was like, I turned to her. I was like, I didn't like that.
Yeah, I did not like that. Everyone disliked that.
I do not like what they did with this.
Yeah, there were so many things. There were things in season 2 where, I think that, and my brother agrees, my little brother Lou. Thanks for the
14-year-old watching Bosom Busters with us.
Yeah, that's hilarious, by the way. But Lou said the same thing to me, and I agree, is that I think weirdly, I tolerated season 1 more than I tolerated season 2 in some ways. I liked Anthony and Kate better than Simon and Daphne, but I think as a whole, I enjoyed season 1 more because I didn't like Simon and Daphne as much, that I cared about the side plots. Like that this season, I didn't give a flying fuck about literally any of the side plots.
I understand what you mean.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I did like the side plots, but I have no fucking clue where they're going to go from now.
Yeah, that was my issue. That was basically one of my issues, and also that I thought it was boring. But like that's
they've uprooted canonical information and factoids that need to be present for future seasons. So like, again, very special episode. I feel like this would be a more appropriate conversation venue. But overall,
just to give a little bit of our thoughts on season 2, because this is but I think the way they handled Auntie and Kate, which is really the important thing,
because that's really the only thing in the second book.
That is like Julia Quinn does not focus on any of the other characters.
They're mentioned at all. They're little tidbits mentioned through Lady Whistledown in the beginning of each chapter. That's
who is not nearly as important in the books either.
No.
She just is there.
She's there to provide some insight.
Which also, without spoiling who Lady Whistledown is, I mean, if you've seen the show, you know, but if you don't, you don't know.
Like, if you've seen our previous episode.
Oh, yeah, we did talk about it. Oops. So,
whoopsie.
If you know who Lady Whistledown is, in the book, it makes her actions look way more forgivable because she never blogs, for lack of a better word, anything like that's too personal or unforgivable,
or without consequence or without a doubt. Like,
right.
There's always some level of speculation, but in the second season there is another player that is present in the name of the fucking queen, and it makes it a battlefield, like dangerous.
Yeah,
to be Lady Whistledown or even associated.
Yeah, but at least the Anthony and Kate stuff, I think, in the show was handled pretty beautifully.
Yeah, it was really nice.
I thought, and you know what? The one thing before we go, because this is already getting really long, but like the one thing
we say that every time.
I know, I'm sorry, but it is.
They know what they're signing up for now. Here's a new thing: no more apologies. Every time that we apologize for going long, you need to send us messages and say, "Shut the fuck up."
Yeah, please. So the one thing I really, 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 really liked about what they changed in season 2, of all the things they changed that I thought was okay, is that at least two things. Number one, that most of the stuff that they included with them did happen in some capacity, just in a very different context in their book. You know what I'm saying? So it was like they wanted the fans to get something, like the bee and the the whole whatever. Like there were things that they did that were similar. You know, the Pall Mall, him falling in the lake, even though it was very different in the book, he still fell in the lake. Yeah. So it's like similar enough that they were like, look, we read the book, we promise. But the one scene that I really liked was that they have sex before they get married. I thought that was great because they set up in the show that their whole thing is like Antony is rules and Kate is rule breaking, and that it's almost more scandalous. Like people were complaining about the lack of sex scenes, and I'm like, I think their sex scene, even though it wasn't as graphic as the sex scenes were in the first season, it's technically more scandalous because they're not married.
It's not even that it was more scandalous. I feel like the chemistry just between them
was so much better.
So much better. I believed it. I thought, even when we were watching, I was like, they're best friends in real life because they're comfortable with each other. You can tell that. And I got scared, timid vibes between Daphne and the Duke. Like, she definitely saw him as master, but Kate and Anthony had like such a nice colloquial vibe to them, and like it was just so refreshing because you were rooting for them for like the entire season, and then finally they do something absolutely out of the park, and you're like, I'm happy for you, but I know what, like, you're invested more.
But I love that it's a broken rule. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That Anthony breaks
that's what I mean.
the rules.
You're invested because you're like, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna do the right thing, or is he going to do what he wants to do?
Right, exactly.
Like when let's finally do something for ourselves. Like I also loved the lines in this. I love you're the bane of my existence and the object of all my desires.
People didn't think there could be a more iconic line than I burned for you,
which is actually from the second book.
Which is from the second book, which is so funny. But they found a way, because I think you are the bane of my existence and the object of all my desires is way more iconic. Way more iconic. The next person
who says that to me, I might have to put a ring on them.
Yeah, so much more iconic than just I burn for you. So and good.
I loved that, and I loved the little call out. Newton the dog needed to be more represented, but I liked how there was a call out because in this show, Edwina is implied to have married or at least been set up with the Queen's nephew from the first season. And awesome. If you know English history, the Queen of England, the current Queen of England, has a line of corgis that dates back.
Yes,
like she does. 200 years. And I told you this, remember?
I thought that was so cool. I didn't know that.
It's implied that Newton is one of the first English family corgis because he's a German prince, and eventually the Germans will just rule over England, and that's how like they're married in. But it's implied that Newton is canonically
the corgi
that started the line of the Queen Elizabeth II.
Yeah, I think that's so funny.
I just love that little breadcrumb. I'm like, yes, Newton.
What I'm hoping, and what I think they did with the second season, and I've told you this, but I think that I'm hoping that for every season, they're exploring a different aspect of relationships. Like for Simon and Daphne, it was clearly, and this is okay, this is actually weirdly, as much as I hate them, not a knock on them, that their relationship is sex.
Lust.
It's lust. It's that their relationship is based on sex. And you know what? That's fine. Like that's
perfectly
totally fine. If
people live lives and relationships off of that, which is
like, that's the most important thing in their relationship. And that's totally fine.
I like how they're appealing to the masses because what I like is withholding and degradation.
Yeah. So, but for Simon and Daphne, the main thing in their relationship is clearly their lust for one another. But I think with Kate and Anthony, even though they have better chemistry, like sexually, I think anyway, but what they were going for narrative-wise is that what attracts them to each other is their brain. Mm-hmm. And I hope that they continue this sort of streak of like each couple having a different thing. Like I think for Colin and Penelope, it's going to be friendship. Right. It's going to be friendship. And I hope that they
I think for Sophie and Benedict, it's going to be creativity.
Creativity or even romance.
Or inspiration. Right. Like, along those lines.
Like fantasy. Like you're saying with creativity, I think that takes many forms. It'll be like, like their romanticism.
Yes.
Their mutual romanticism and creativity, which I think you're totally right.
Letting each other flourish.
Right. And, it'll keep going. You know what I'm saying?
Which is, it appeals to every kind of self-hating reader or watcher out there who just really wants to see themselves in some way, shape, or form being dicked down by a hot man with sideburns.
Okay. He doesn't have sideburns in the second season, but
he still has sideburns, but they're a bit less offensive.
They're a little bit less like obtrusive. But like
my obtrusive thoughts are his eyebrows and his sideburns.
Yeah, like by the way, side note, Jonathan Bailey not appreciated for how hot he was in the first season because everybody was like, oh, the sideburns. I thought he was hot the first season. I was so vindicated the second season. I saw an
interesting thing, and it was like he's trying to look like his dad because Edmund had really thick sideburns.
That. Oh my god, I saw that.
Which I really was like, if that's true, I'm like, because the Bridgerton casting people are very good with like their costuming and their makeup.
Right. Even though
very
it's
good.
Super historically inaccurate, but we're okay because it's beautiful.
But it's consistent and it's meaningful. Yeah. They take some liberties with the style, actually, but like I'm like, oh, I hope that's the case because if so, that's really smart.
That's brilliant. I would love that.
And like for everyone's season, they kind of like morph into their own person. So they're like images of like Colin.
Fucking Colin.
Who he arguably looks a lot better now. Like Luke, that's his name, right?
I still hate Colin. It doesn't have anything to do with how he looks. I just hate him.
We'll get to that in that's a good segue because we'll get that into the fourth book. But up next, Rory, do you want to tell us what book is up next because it's your favorite?
It's my second favorite technically. But It has a special place in my heart.
It's your favorite trope.
It's my favorite trope. It's not, like, as an English major, it's not my favorite book, but in my heart, it's kind of my favorite. So the third book is An Offer from a Gentleman, which is Benedict's story.
And on the cover of the original copy, what was it again?
Shoes and a staircase.
So what do you think it's going to be based off of?
I don't know. You guys have to guess.
You're going to have to follow and find out.
Yeah, you're going to see. So anyway, check us out on all our social media.
Which is at Rory and Roni podcast for the Instagram, and www.stopthecoloryellow.com.
We'll see you next time.
Yep. Thanks, guys. You're so